Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to week 8 of our COM 151 Introduction to Microsoft Office class. This is Mark, your instructor. I hope that the past 7 weeks have been beneficial to you, that you've learned a lot about Microsoft Office and the different programs and how you can use them at work and at play or even at home to help you do some things that you need to do. We spent a couple of weeks on Excel. And this week we're going to switch over to Microsoft Access. Microsoft Access is a relational database program. Relational databases are named that way because they consist of multiple pages, tables, chapters, whatever terminology you'd like to use, containing different kinds of data. And relationally, they can relate to one another, which means we can actually pull information from multiple places to get the information that we need. And we're going to look at that this week. Databases are commonly used every day. We may not even realize that we use them. For an example, not long ago was Christmas. I know we're coming into the end of February, but back at Christmas, I did all my Christmas shopping on Amazon Prime. Had everything shipped to the house. Amazon Prime uses databases. So when we go out and we get on Amazon and we start looking for things, we're doing what we call a query, or we're searching the database for information. And we find it and then we can buy it or do whatever. Databases can be built with screens that are very, very easy to use. You may notice that because in a lot of cases all we have to do is fill in the blanks, just click on a particular box, check a box, things like that. All those things tell the database what we want it to do, and we don't have to worry about all the complicated stuff that goes on behind the scenes. So databases are very easy to use for the end user. We're going to open up the hood and look inside the database this week, actually do some designing of databases. And like I said, there's no way that you're going to be really, really good at it in 1 week that we work on it, but it'll give you an idea of what databases are and what they can do. There are actually entire classes, multiple classes that you can take on database design and management, and it's not uncommon to see entire 4-year degrees based on database work. So 1 week is probably just going to give you a little bit of information about what this program is. I hope that you find it interesting and maybe you'd want to learn more about it. It's called a relational database because inside Access, what we're going to do is create tables. And a table is basically a sheet of records, and I kind of try to say it's just like an Excel spreadsheet when you first open it. There are rows, there's columns, there's cells, and we can create as many tables as we want to. So one sheet is a table. When we put information into the database, we call it a record. So there's some terminology that's different in Access than it would be, say, Excel or what have you. So a record is just that. It's a piece of information. So I might put your name and address into a database, and that is a record. I may put the classes that you're taking this particular term into the database. That would be a record. And so we build those records. Tables may be of different kinds. For an example, I may have a table that all the information on that table is names and addresses and contact information. I may have a second table that contains all your financial aid for school. A third table may be all the books that you need to buy over the course of your degree and whether you've gotten them or not. Another table may be your grades. Another table may be I don't know, financial aid, or who knows what it could be. It's whatever we want it to be. So each table or each sheet or each thing contains records, and we have those on different pages. And each of those relate to each other. And what we mean by that is what we're going to do is assign a primary key to your information. The primary key is going to link your information no matter what page it's on. So on page 1, if I create a record for Mark Evans, with his name and his address and his phone number, and I give him a student ID number, I'm going to make the student ID what they call a primary key. When I go to the second page or the second table and I put in a list of his financial aid, I'm going to always put in the student ID, and it's going to be the primary key there. Then on page 3, I'll put in all of the classes that he needs to take. I'll again put in the student ID, which is the primary key. On page 4, I may put in all the bookstore or textbook issues, and there will be a primary key there. Then later, after I've put in all this information for all the different people, and I want to say, how many classes does Mark have to take, or how many books does Mark need to buy, or what is his contact information? What I do is I create a query, or I create a search. A query is just a question, and I ask the database, show me whatever it is that I want to know. And the database will use that primary key to pull that information out and show it to me regardless of what sheet or table that information's in. So that sounds complicated, but once we start doing it, I think you're going to see that it's not that complicated at all. In fact, we can create a really simple database, relatively easy. But later, if we're going to do one for work or business or our own company or something like that, it would get a little more complicated. So that's the kind of stuff that we're going to work on this week. Don't get worried about it. I am going to schedule a Zoom conference call for Monday night, and I will put that out in the announcement in terms of the time and the link for you. Excuse me. And I will actually pull up a blank database and we'll work through it together. So I hope to see you on Monday night. I hope this has been very, very helpful. Please make sure you're taking the time to check your grade book. Anything that you have missing, anything that have zeros, etc., other than the discussions, can still be turned in for a grade. This is week 8. We have week 8, 9, and then 10, and then our class will be over. So hopefully you're taking a look at that, making sure you're keeping up and catching up anything that you need to. If you got any questions, please reach out to me. I'm here to help you. Hope that you're enjoying the class, and I'll see you soon.